All right, this is the first video on my YouTube channel. It's crazy, crazy. This is gonna be like a documentation kind of thing, for myself, I guess. Sort of like more accountability, I guess. So I keep working on it more often. Um, but it's gonna take a while, probably. Last time I did a pointillism art piece that was this size, it took me about 9 months. But that was because I didn't work on it very often. Here, though, I'm hoping I can do it a lot more often. Uh, and my idea for this is I'm going to be doing a uh, live stream on Twitch every single time I draw this. That way I have more, just interaction with people that might tell me I'm doing something wrong, or I can just ask them, does this look alright? I don't know. And then they'd probably just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll just hopefully improve in some manner. But here, this is going to be something I'm relatively good at drawing flowers, I think. But this is going to be a bouquet of flowers, roses, tulips. And you see, I'm drawing a rose in a free-handed style from memory, of like trying to figure out what style I want to go with this. And I'm mapping out as I'm talking with my manic hands how I'm gonna do this because I didn't really know. I didn't really have any sort of idea. I couldn't really imagine what I wanted to do, so I just did a rough sketch on that copy paper right there, a more refined sketch and composition posing of flowers on the big paper here. And this is a pretty big paper. It's 24 inches by 18 inches. It's humongous. It's actually longer than my desk, but I'm able to manage on my little desk here. Uh, so so you see me there. I'm drawing the violets. I'm positioning my hand, trying to describe how I want each violet to look. And these violets are going to be sort of the middle color for this entire bouquet. And the flowers on the right, bottom right, that I just finished drawing before, those tulips are going to be the more, uh, I guess you could say, opposing force to the roses, right? So the rose on the left is going to be very like kind of sharp, kind of detailed, and then it's going to be very basic kind of tulips and very kind of basic violets. And as you see here, I'm drawing uh, another kind of flower. I believe it is let me see correctly what it's called. It is a azalea. Yeah, totally forgot the name of it because I haven't seen one in real life before. But they have weird little like spore like appendages coming out of them. It's terrifying. It's awful. There, I'm drawing a rose, trying to figure out how I want it to be, and then I'm pointing here, trying to figure out where I want the next tulip to be. Because it doesn't look I want it to really here. It looks kind of messy. I'm just trying to map out where everything's gonna go. Um, because this is kind of new to me. I never drawn an entire bouquet. I usually just draw one or maybe even two flowers on one piece. So I don't really have a lot of experience with composition, especially um, making flower art. I didn't take any classes to learn the like ins and outs of flower art. I didn't know any like uh, any sort of flower design courses. I didn't take any of that stuff. I just took basic art classes in school that just were free form, and I look kind of crazy drawing this with my hands going everywhere. But I guess I'll keep that in mind next time. And the stream was a little goofy. I had to actually flip this. As you can see, the BRB there is actually upside down because I was recording this basically upside down, so no one could see what I was doing. And it was a pretty bad first stream. I'll be honest with you, it was pretty bad. But I think I made a lot more progress than I normally would have drawing, I guess, by myself. Because I was basically speaking, like saying what I wanted to do, you know. And there's an orchid, right? And I'm like debating how I would want this orchid to be. There's a rose, and I'm just speaking as I'm drawing this, and I'm figuring out what makes sense, what doesn't. Like I say it, that doesn't make sense. Why would I say that? That's stupid. And then I re-say it, repeat what I said differently, and then just like okay, then it's like this flower's here. That makes sense because then I want this to be, displaying this way, and it kind of makes more sense. So I'm just trying to, I guess, shape my my creation better uh, by narrating what I'm doing. This is oh my goodness, this took me, I believe, an hour and a half. This flower here, this left rose, bane of my existence because I didn't have a reference. I'm trying to figure out how I want this to look because I'm debating at this point how I want the style of this piece to be and how I want these specific flowers to look. I'm not really good at stylizing things, honestly, but I am good at drawing abstract blobs of um, ants or bugs or machines or buildings or something like that. So I was hoping I could do it here, but flowers I usually draw very realistic styles of. So having that conflicting, like, I guess, ability of realistic flower versus stylized, like, mechanical things didn't really help me much, and it kind of just made it worse. And I ended up fully erasing it and then trying to redraw it again without reference. And I was thinking, like, this is not really working. I don't want to copy my reference exactly because then it just kind of loses a little bit of mood and like the theme of my picture. It look off because if each photographer for each flower positions it differently. There's more like focus on certain parts. But here I want specific shots or I guess specific positioning of each flower. That way, like each one has a purpose in the picture. So eventually, um, I realized that my drawings were they were angled wrong. They were positioning themselves wrong. They were saying the wrong thing. And I'm pointing with my hand. I'm trying to make a shape, trying to figure out what's wrong with this rose. What's wrong with this entire like setup of petals and overlapping shapes. And eventually, I found guess like a silhouette that I liked, but I couldn't see what was wrong with it. Something was wrong, and I didn't know why. And I'm drawing it uh, facing to the left, right? But I'm looking at it straight on. So I'm drawing the bottom of it really well. As you see, like it's like folded. It looks like a rose, but the top of it, it just looks. It doesn't look like an actual flower the way it's opening, and I was really struggling with that. So I get eventually a pretty good idea of like the way this is supposed to be positioned, and I come to my senses pretty soon here, I believe. And I realize that if I turn the paper so that it looks like I'm looking at it dead on, like it's growing upwards and not, you know, leaning to my left, because I've drawn a lot of flowers that are just growing straight up. So this is kind of the same process, right? This is kind of the same idea. So I draw the stem. I like how it looks, and I'm like figuring out, okay, this is a pretty good shape, but it's off somehow, and I don't know how to fix it. What if I turn the paper? And let me see if when it happens here. And I get a huge like eureka moment when I do it because I'm just so stuck in my own head, I guess, that I don't realize an easy solution to my problem. And I'm erasing, I'm adding tiny little lines, adding tiny little details, and figuring out where to go. Even though most of these details you're not even going to notice because it's going to be little dots covering this entire thing. Little tiny point 0.4 to, I believe it is, let's see what size it is. It is 2 millimeter. So point 0.4, here we go. So I have point 0.4 dots and 2 millimeter dots for this entire drawing that I'm going to do. And I turned it, unfortunately, I turned it towards, there we go. I turned it towards the camera here. See what I'm doing. So I'm realizing that the shapes don't work. It's not correct. Um, it looks a little better. I like it more. It's still a little rough. I don't really know if it's perfect. I feel like it's kind of a little weird. Now I'm gonna map out the next things I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna roughly like figure out where the next flowers are gonna be positioned because these are gonna be a little bit harder to fully detail like a rose. A rose is a lot of layers, a lot of shapes that make it a rose. But other things like these daisies here are more chaotic. They're more I guess they're overly detailed if you were to actually throw it out. And the video just ended. Wow, that was fast. I had an abrupt ending on that stream. Um, well, regardless, I'm going to leave it here, I guess, because it cut me off. Next video, I think I'm going to better uh, narrate and probably write a script for. But until then, I'm gonna leave a link to my Twitch stream in the description, and you can hopefully watch a better version of this. There. So yeah, I'll see you next time with a much better video, I promise, okay?